Welcome to CognitionChunks. This is Legal Evolution, What Old Laws Tell Us About Human Nature. Asking, what are the 7 oldest known legal codes? The 7 oldest known legal codes, a comprehensive overview. List of the 7 oldest known legal codes. 1. Code of Yarnama, 2100-2050 BC. 2. Lipitishtar Code, 1860 BC. 3. Laws of Ashnana, 1930 BC. 4. Code of Hammurabi, 1754 BC. 5. Hittite Laws, 1650-1100 BC. 6. 12 Tables of Roman Law, 450 BC. 7. Gordon Code, 5th century BC. Comparison and contrast. Content and complexity. The Code of Yarnama is more civil in nature, focusing on familial and property matters. In contrast, the Code of Hammurabi is comprehensive, covering civil, criminal, and commercial law. The 12 tables were primitive, mostly focusing on procedural law. Geographical origin. These codes originated in different geographical regions: Mesopotamia, Yarnama, Lipitishtar, Ashnana, Hammurabi, Anatolia, Hittite, and the Mediterranean. 12 tables, Gordon Code. Justice principles. Mesopotamian laws emphasized lex talionis, eye for an eye, while the 12 tables incorporated some elements of restorative justice. The Hittite laws are noted for being more lenient compared to others. Language and writing. The Mesopotamian and Hittite laws were written in cuneiform on clay tablets, while the 12 tables were inscribed in Latin on bronze, and the Gordon Code was written in a form of Greek boustrophedon script. Relative timelines. 1. Code of Yarnama 2100-2050 BC. 2. Laws of Ashnana 1930 BC. 3. Lipitishtar Code 1860 BC. 4. Code of Hammurabi 1754 BC. 5. Hittite Laws 1650-1100 BC. 6. 12 Tables of Roman Law 450 BC. 7. Gordon Code 5th century BC. Places of origin. Code of Yarnama, Ur, Samaria. Lipitishtar Code, Isin, Mesopotamia. Laws of Ashnana, Ashnana, Mesopotamia. Code of Hammurabi, Babylon, Mesopotamia. Hittite Laws, Hittite Empire, Anatolia. 12 Tables of Roman Law, Rome. Gordon Code, Gortyn, Crete. Impact and lifespan. Mesopotamian codes influenced each other. The Hammurabi Code was foundational for later Near Eastern legal systems. Hittite laws, influential within the Hittite Empire but isolated due to the fall of the empire. 12 Tables, integral to Roman law and hence Western legal tradition. Gordon Code, important for understanding ancient Greek law but less influential on later legal systems. What we learn and applications. 1. Development of legal thought. These codes show us the evolution of legal thought, from more primitive and harsh eye for an eye systems to more nuanced legal systems that incorporate various forms of justice. 2. Social values. They reflect the social, economic, and moral values of their time. For example, many Mesopotamian laws focus on agriculture and property, showing the significance of land and assets in these societies. 3. Jurisprudential concepts. Many legal principles, such as the presumption of innocence in the Code of Yarnama, have endured and are still relevant today. 4. Influence on modern law. The 12 Tables and Hammurabi's Code influenced the development of modern Western legal systems. Understanding these ancient codes can give insight into contemporary legal practices and assumptions. 5. Anthropological insights. These codes offer sociocultural perspectives and are integral for studies related to the anthropology of law, helping to understand how legal systems have evolved in human societies over time. By studying these ancient legal codes, we can understand the evolution of jurisprudential thought and societal values over time. This not only adds to our collective knowledge of human history, but can also inform the development and interpretation of modern legal systems. In fields like law, history, sociology, and anthropology, these ancient codes continue to be subjects of study and interpretation, offering timeless lessons on justice, governance, and social order. Detailed examination of law contents in ancient legal codes. Code of Yarnamo, 2100-2050 BC. Civil law, laws about divorce and property disputes. For instance, if a man divorces his wife, he must pay her a settlement. Criminal law covers murder and theft, such as death by impalement for murder. Commercial laws, regulations on trade and barter, including scales and weights. Lipitishtar Code, 1860 BC. Property laws, guidelines on the sale of property and its restitution in case of disputes. Family laws, rules on inheritance and adoption. Contracts, included early forms of contractual obligations for services. Laws of Ashnuna, 1930 BC. Property rights, detailed specifications for what constituted legal ownership of land and chattels. Civil procedure, rules on the legal process for property disputes, including witness testimony. Penal code, included penalties for robbery and assault. Code of Hammurabi, 1754 BC. Civil law, detailed laws on divorce, property rights, and trade. For example, if a man wishes to separate from a woman who has borne him children, he must give her a portion of his property. Criminal law, death penalty for more serious crimes like murder, theft, and fraud. Commercial law, rules for merchants, including the regulation of prices and standardization of weights and measures. Agriculture and labor, laws regulating agricultural practices, including the rental of land and labor rights. Hittite laws, 1650-1100 BC. Civil laws, regulations on property disputes, including recompense for damaged property. Criminal laws, lesser punishments than earlier laws, such as fines instead of physical punishment for theft. Family laws, rules on marriage, including penalties for adultery. 12 Tables of Roman Law, 450 BC. Procedural law, defined the legal procedures for courts and trials. Civil law, regulations on property and contracts. Debt laws, specific rules for creditors and debtors, including the concept of nexum, a form of debt bondage. Family law, defined legal authority within the family, including the patria potestas, the absolute power of the father over the family. Gordon Code, 5th century BC. Family law, detailed regulations on marriage, divorce, and inheritance. Civil law, dispute resolutions for property and trade. Penal codes, fines for minor crimes and more severe penalties for serious crimes. Comparative observations. Severity of punishments. Earlier Mesopotamian codes had more brutal punishments compared to later codes like the Hittite laws and Roman 12 Tables, which moved toward fines and restitution. Emphasis on property. Nearly all codes have a heavy emphasis on property in commercial law, highlighting the importance of economic transactions in these societies. Development of contract law. from rudimentary forms of contracts in Lipitishtar to more complex forms in Roman law, the concept of legally binding agreements evolved substantially over time. Gender and social class. Most of these laws reflect the gender and social hierarchies of their time, with varying degrees of rights and privileges for women and lower social classes. By closely examining these ancient legal codes, we get a comprehensive picture of how law evolved to mediate between changing societal norms, economic necessities, and moral expectations. Their impacts on subsequent legal thought and current systems demonstrate the adaptive yet enduring nature of law as a social construct. Legal scholars, historians, and anthropologists continue to study these texts to better understand not only the history of legal thought but also its future trajectory. Legal evolution: what old laws tell us about human nature. Introduction. The study of ancient legal codes offers an invaluable lens through which we can explore human nature and social evolution. These archaic systems of governance and justice can illuminate the intrinsic values, fears, and ambitions that have driven human society from its earliest stages to its current complexities. This comprehensive analysis will delve into what these old laws reveal about human nature, tracing the enduring themes and evolving nuances over time. Early primitive societies. In very early human history, justice was often a local affair, settled within the community or tribe. The need for fair trade and retribution against transgressions shows that even early human communities had a rudimentary sense of fairness and justice. It suggests that social order is not merely a modern construct but an intrinsic part of human nature. Mesopotamian codes, authority and fairness. The likes of the Code of Yarnamu and the Code of Hammurabi reveal a structured society deeply concerned with authority and social hierarchies. Laws were created not merely to govern but to establish power dynamics clearly, and a lot of the legislation was aimed at protecting property and maintaining public order. Human nature insight. The necessity for such rigid structuring points to an intrinsic human tendency towards organization and hierarchy, as well as an understanding of the need for authority to maintain peace and fairness. Hittite and later Mesopotamian codes, moral evolution. The later Hittite laws, for example, reflect a less brutal set of punishments, revealing a shift towards compassion and nuanced justice. Human nature insight. This suggests that as societies evolve, so does the moral compass of its people, indicating that our sense of justice is not static but adaptable and capable of evolution. Roman law, community and individualism. Roman laws, particularly the 12 Tables, balance communal responsibilities with individual rights. There is an elaborate system designed to protect individual properties and transactions, indicating the growing importance of individualism. Human nature insight. This demonstrates that as societies grow more complex, so does the human need for individual autonomy within a collective community. This suggests an inherent tension in human nature between collectivism and individualism. Eastern philosophies and legalism. In contrast to Western legal traditions, Eastern legal systems were often grounded in philosophies like Confucianism or legalism, focusing on moral integrity and societal harmony. Human nature insight. This divergence points to the adaptability of human nature and its capability to develop varying systems of justice and governance based on differing philosophical foundations. Modern implications. Understanding the evolution of ancient legal codes and their underlying philosophies can provide significant insights into the enduring aspects of human nature, such as our intrinsic need for fairness, authority, social cohesion, and individual autonomy. The constant theme of adaptability. From the earliest sets of written laws to modern legal systems, What is remarkably constant is the human ability to adapt legal systems to fit the social and moral fabric of the time. Old laws serve as rich historical texts that mirror the values, fears, and aspirations of their human authors and the societies they represent. As society and morality have evolved, so have our legal codes, reflecting a deeply ingrained adaptability and flexibility in human nature. By studying the evolution of these legal systems, we can better understand ourselves and anticipate the future directions in which humanity might move, legally and morally. What a ride, right? From the venerable and almost mythical code of Yarnamu to Hammurabi's iconic basalt steel, and even to obscure legal traditions lost in the annals of history, we've explored the foundations of human law and governance like never before. Today's Cognition Chunk has been a panoramic tour of some of the oldest known legal codes, each revealing the social, moral, and often perplexing aspects of human nature. We've seen how these codes range from fair trials and taxation in ancient Mesopotamia to surprisingly modern notions of women's rights in some cases. And let's not forget the darker sides, the corporal punishments, the class hierarchies, and the absolute authority of monarchs. It's as if these legal codes act as mirrors, reflecting both the noble and ignoble facets of human behavior. The beauty of exploring legal history is not just in appreciating the sophistication of our ancestors but in understanding how their early attempts at creating a just society shape our current legal landscape. These legal fossils, if you will, offer us invaluable insights into the constants of human nature, our need for order, justice, and sometimes, retribution. So, as we wrap up, consider this: what does our legal history say about us? Have we evolved ethically, or are we grappling with the same basic issues, merely dressed in contemporary garb? Thank you, fellow cognitive explorers, for navigating through this intricate labyrinth of laws and human behavior with me. If this episode got your neurons firing, smash that like button and share it far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe for more multifaceted views on everything fascinating under the sun, sprinkled with just the right amount of nerdy humor. So until the next Cognition Chunk, keep your minds open, your inquiries probing, and your quest for knowledge ever insatiable. Signing off. Was this accurate? Did GPT just make up a bunch of stuff that does not exist or does not make sense? Find out next time in the Cognition Chunks follow-up.